All right, y'all, back at it again. 4050 Club. Happy holidays. We are here. Christmas is upon us, and we're going to talk about some things that Black men go through during this time. We as Black men have so much weight that we bear during this holiday season, and today we're going to talk about some of the weight that Black men bear during the holiday season, and we're going to talk about how we navigate through that, and also what you need to know to make sure that your Christmas is everything you want it to be. So let's jump into it here on 4050.
And welcome to the 4050 Social Club. We are dedicated to helping Black men healthily transition in their 40s and 50s. We're going to be engaging in holistic topics around relationship, health, wealth, spirituality, and professionalism with transparency, accountability, and respect. Now, our voices weren't heard in our communities as we were growing up, as they are today. So we want to take an opportunity right now and establish and give back to all great humans. You're going to vibe with myself, Quest, CJ, Jamian, as we unlock eclectic areas throughout our lives while being in our 40s and 50s. So let's get it going.
All right, y'all. So we're going to talk about this whole dynamic with Black men holding it down during the holidays. Black men have to be responsible for so many things, both seen and unseen. You know, it's like we got to be responsible, be the provider. We praying over the meal. We praying over the family. We're going to be the priest. We're going to be the protector, making sure that everybody is protected during the holiday season. But we're also going to make sure that we're looking at how we're mediating arguments and making sure everybody get along. It's kind of like we got to be the overseer of everything. We got to be the DJ. We got to make sure the videos is showing on the TV and people could sing Christmas carols. Like we juggling all these different things at the same time, but nobody ever really asked the question, how you doing, Black man? And so today we're going to jump into some of those dynamics and talk about how you doing, Black man. So one of the facts that we want to jump into is Black men between the ages of 40 and 55 are holding so much during the holidays, financially, making sure that the family's taken care of, making sure that things are going okay with their partner. All these things are happening, and Black men are wearing these things and feeling the pressure of all of these dynamics, again, both seen and unseen. And Black men, we do a great job of hiding our emotions, but also hurting deeply and sincerely on the inside. So that's something that, we want you all to know that is a fact that's happening, Black men.
Yeah. And then this is from the APA. They did a holiday stress survey a few years ago. And it was so interesting. They looked at all the different groups that were out there, and the holiday stress was reported by this to increase by 30% for Black adults. And Black men are significantly less likely to express their emotions openly. And that's something I think that we all understand and we know. And that's one of those things we also want to try to combat in a healthy way.
Yeah, and NBC did a Black wellness study in 2024, and they found out that 72% Black men 40 plus describe themselves as the one who fixed things in the family. So when it comes down to it, I think there's a lot to be said about just the dynamic of the Black male in this family around the holidays. Jay, I want to start off by just asking you a question here, and it goes along with the same situation that we're talking about right now and some of the stats, that we just went over. Are Black men expected to be strong during the holidays even when they're hurting and when something may be going on?
And hell yeah. I think we're raised that way. I think we're raised in a way to hold it down, to be lions, to be kings, to be able to take on a lot of weight and not really show how it's impacting us. And unfortunately, it's those invisible pressures that we don't really talk about that end up killing us, or that end up causing us to have depression, end up causing us to go through the holidays. The holidays can be a very amazing, fun-filled time, but what people don't really talk about is the holidays are also a very stressful and depressing time. And I can't help but think about some of the experiences I've had over my lifetime. I think about when I was younger, man, I had some Christmases where siblings were arguing, to the point of pulling a knife out on each other and threatening to kill each
Mm,
other. And I'm sitting there as a young man, like, are we even having Christmas this year?
Mm,
yeah, that's wild.
To also having other family dynamics come at play when I'm getting older and I'm recognizing, like, I'm the linchpin in here. I'm the one that is
mm,
going to keep everybody at peace with each other. So having to wear that burden of making sure make sure everybody's getting along, and I
mm,
think
Oof.
those are some of the pressures that we don't necessarily talk about. And unfortunately, I think when we have black men that are consistently playing that role year over year, it's expected that
mm,
they will do that. So
Mm,
oftentimes I
mm,
find myself when I go home, I love my family to death, but oftentimes it's Jamie, 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 Jamie. And I love it, it's cool, but also I don't really share sometimes the
mm.
burden and the heaviness that comes with it too, because I'm
mm,
addressing those people pleaser parts of me where I'm trying to juggle everything and everybody and making sure that everybody is having a great time. And then I guess the other piece I will say, time for me personally has been stressful. And this Christmas, this holiday season has been stressful because I've recently gone through some job changes that have
Mm,
impacted me personally financially, but also
mhm,
has
mm,
impacted my partner and my family in ways that I didn't
mhm,
really plan on and plan for. And so I'm
mhm.
constantly thinking about the weight that I'm transferring to them because now I am going through a period where I'm not as financially strong as I have been in the past. So it's
mm,
like
Mhm.
this has allowed me to think about not just myself, but other black men that go through
Yep.
these moments as well, as a new husband, as a new father, as all these different things when you're used to having financial support in ways that you don't currently have during the holiday season. It bears weight
Mhm.
on you. It's bearing weight on me now. I think about
Yeah.
every day, like, what am I going to do today to try to fill the gap so my partner's not absorbing it all on her own, or
mm,
what else can I be doing to make sure that I'm showing up in a way where I may not be Santa Claus, but maybe I could be the one carrying the sleigh, or maybe I'm the one
mm.
that can be doing some things to help out in various ways. So absolutely, that's why I said hell yeah, and I say hell yeah again, that I think black men definitely carry that burden, and how we show
Mhm.
it is really impacting us in different ways. So I
Well,
think about those things, man. Yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to, one of the things as I was hearing you talk, it inspired a thought in my mind about this too. And this is knowing you, especially over the years and watching the way you've kind of grown and evolved. Yes, you're new into
Yeah.
this marriage, but from a family that you had before you
Mhm.
married into another family. And we all feel this. Like at some point, we become that rock, we become that person in our family. And we're so used
Yeah.
to playing that
Yeah.
role that
Yes.
Yeah.
you assume it every holiday season, and the people in your life assume you're going to be that. So as you start to evolve and see, like, I don't know that that's necessarily the healthiest way for me to have gone about this in the first place. Your movement doesn't mean that other people moving with you, and that creates tension. As you're starting to become something that's
Mm,
different, you know
Mhm.
that you're different is ultimately better for everybody. But as you're
right.
becoming that different, and the folks who have been there from day one are looking at it like, why are you doing that? Like, there's tension there that I think a lot of people, as they're going through that stage in evolution, they don't take the risk of going there because they're nervous about what that's going to do to everybody else. Like I think about it, we were just talking
Yeah.
about this health issue that I had that I got over, and we just made it through Thanksgiving, and I started to feel a couple things that were alarming, like things that were signals the last time around. Over the last week, a couple things have happened. And
Got
my
you.
first thought, because my wife has asked me all the time, like, "How you doing? How you doing?" And so she asked, she's like, "How you doing?" I was like, I'm feeling a little bit of heaviness in my leg, in my left leg, which is where the clot was, and there's a little bit of swelling. And I saw the look she had on her face instantly, and then I didn't go anywhere else. Where I was like, you know what? I don't even want to bring this up to her right now. Like I'm gonna be okay.
Yeah.
And went through this
Mhm.
past weekend, like the Thanksgiving and the weekend, paranoid that these things that I was starting to feel were going to signal this other thing. But it was more,
Mhm.
I didn't want to do that to Janine again, and the girls were at home, so I was assuming this
Mm,
role, being the rock, like I'm gonna be
Mhm.
okay. And I was fighting with it with myself all weekend, like, wow, I'm actually really nervous about what's happening, but I don't want to let it show. And I know that's not a healthy way to be, So
yeah.
evolving is one thing, but evolving yet being afraid to be that for your family, as a whole nother thing. So again, as you were talking, it just made my mind go there for a second.
Nah, that's good.
Wow,
That's
wow,
good.
wow.
That's good. I don't question if you got any thoughts on this, but I'm just curious, who do we go to as black men? Who do we go to for
Mm,
support? Who do we talk to? Because I know, me being honest,
Hmm.
sometimes it's hard for me to go to my partner and talk to her about some of my insecurities financially when I'm not used
mm,
to being insecure financially, or having to think about who am I gonna give this gift to and how much we gonna spend on these gifts. And we got some new
Yeah.
family members a part of the family now, and the family's expanding. Like, we gonna take care of them too. You got to think through all these different dynamics and things. Black men just have to absorb it. So who do black men go and talk to? I'm curious to get your thoughts.
yeah.
I'm definitely going to answer this question because I think we have a collage of different things that our viewers are going to see from us soon, where I can give my other answer around here. But I'm going to answer this question. I think that when we are looking towards the holiday, we need to be a lot more interested in our support system.
Mm,
We have to be a lot more thorough in seeing how we are going to obtain the support and what that looks like. Because I think having that early on by September, you are already in a state of having that person, those people, whoever they are, to be able to understand what you are going through, even at that moment. Maybe they have more devices for you to use. Maybe they have a strategy that you can use. Maybe they have some actual answers for some of
mm,
the questions that you may have. But those people look like the people that you are secure with, the people that you are safe with, the people that have your genuine heart and your family. They know your family dynamic. They know exactly in some ways what you have been going through and what you're trying to and in some ways put together here for your family. They also are going to be able to give you a kind of a what I would say a real and a real forward view
mm,
of what's actually going on. They may say things that you look at and be like, why is this person saying that to me? But really, they're giving you feedback. They're giving
mm,
you feedback to probably even say sometimes you probably don't even have to take on that. You probably don't even have to think about this way. Let's think about it another
Mhm.
way, and maybe that'll help you process through this. So I really feel that sometimes we need to look at those people who are genuine, who are honest,
mm.
and give us some really concrete feedback. The ones that know our family dynamic, the ones that we talk to enough to be able to start that support early on so
Mm,
that when we get to these moments, we're already in a healthy space.
yeah.
Man, that sound cool and all. I get it. That's cool. But I'm like, that sound cool, but it also sound nebulous, because what if you ain't got that? Like, I'm
Huh,
thinking
Yeah,
about,
huh,
growing up in my family, like, I didn't really have that.
yeah,
mm,
Like, you know what I
yeah,
mean? Like,
mm,
everybody had some different dynamic going on where I didn't feel comfortable being that vulnerable with them, or
mm,
their
mhm,
perspective was so jaded from their emotional trauma or whatever they've been through, where I was like, oh, I don't want to go talk to that uncle about it,
yeah,
because we ain't seen
yeah,
him in a
yeah,
long time, or
yeah,
I ain't want to go talk to that person over there because they got a drug problem, or they got some
yeah,
things going on that may impact how they look at things. Like, I'm curious, if you don't necessarily have good support
yeah,
models or role models in your
mhm,
family, what else can you
yeah,
do to go and find support that's external?
yeah,
Does
mhm,
that make
mhm,
sense? Like,
mhm.
yeah, no, yeah,
I want to get a little bit deeper up underneath it,
Yeah,
because I'm
yeah,
thinking about some of these
yeah.
brothers out here that are like, I am that person.
Woo-hoo.
mhm,
I'm all of that. So
mhm.
who am I supposed to go to? You
Yeah.
know?
Well, I'm a jump in on this one because again, as both
Yeah,
of you all were talking, it was making me reflect, and I hope that the people that are watching this do the same thing for themselves. Like, start to relate to this and see how it plays out in your own life. But as you were
yeah,
talking, Jay, where my mind went is, you're right. There are things that go on in a family that you don't want to talk to another family member about. Right, like they
yeah,
they may
Yeah.
be too invested in a way, or you feel like I don't know how vulnerable I can be because I don't know if this is going to wind up giving back or getting back. And so where it took me to was the
Mhm.
way that I think life has always been for me, like from the moment I was yay high, where my dad had passed away, my sister's dad was not that for me. He was not a role model in any kind of way other than this is what you don't do. You know what I mean? Like that's what he was. But then other than that, it was basically all women in my family, my mom, my sister, my
Yeah.
aunts, all of my cousins, except for like one or two on my mom's side. So I found that in my dudes, like my friends that I knew, they knew me inside and out. Like we were just that close, especially a couple of them like Richard and Bernard. Like we wound up becoming the closest three. And then Rick kind of came in there. But there was just a
Mhm.
group of us that I knew no matter what was happening, all the craziness in my life, that was a group that I could go to and find my wholeness, right?
Yeah.
Those relationships have
Yeah.
continued into adulthood, but I also have other ones. Like I look at this group right here. If there's something going on with me at home or whatever's happening
Yeah.
in my family, I need to process. I know that I can jump on this or text y'all or do whatever, and we can do that because we're building that kind of relationship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Be you guys, my roommates from college. Like there are enough of those. I have enough of those resources out there that I know I can go to. And I would also say, unlike when I was a little kid, what I also have now is a therapist. That's somebody who is
Yeah.
as impartial in this whole thing as possible. And I can go and
Amen.
lay things out. And that's somebody who reflects to me like a mirror, exactly what it is that I'm saying to him in ways that have to make me see and face myself clearly. Right? So when Quest was
Nice.
talking about being able to get that honest stuff from someone, that's someone who can do it. And I've invested enough in that relationship. Well, my therapist kind of knows my family dynamics without even knowing everybody in my
Sure.
family. Obviously,
Yes.
Sure. Sure.
it's a little biased toward my view because I'm the one doing the presenting. But there's no question that that's a resource I go to. And then I would also say, which gets a little bit beyond human in this sense, but I would say for me, it's my God. You know, it is in
Yeah.
Amen.
when
Okay.
I am in
Yep.
that space, and there are ways that I
Yep.
commune with that. Some is through prayer, some is
Mm.
through
Mhm.
meditation, and stuff I read, stuff I listen to. It doesn't matter, but I have to have a
Mhm.
certain amount of that in my life to know that I'm stable and central and operating from a good and stable base. You know, hearing you
Nice.
say and asking that question, like that's where my mind goes. But I'm interested for you hearing both my and Quest versions of this. Who do you go to?
Yeah, I think I put both of y'all responses together and I have a collective. I
Mm,
honestly do. And I think it's the spiritual, it's the physical, it's the universe, it's all these pieces. It's my partner. You know what I'm saying? I also have certain family members I go to. And I think also it's recognizing you don't have to have just a one size fits all. I got
mm,
this
Yes.
person I can go to for these things. I got my therapist I can go to for these
mm,
things. You know what I'm saying? My partner for these things. You start recognizing who you can have as valuable support
Yeah.
networks, and that
mm,
creates a collective. Like I was with my therapist tonight, right? So it's like having a therapist that can touch base with you on some of those things that are face to face, like that mirror, like you said. But then I
mm,
also have spiritual friends that I can connect with on a spiritual level, and
Yeah.
they give me some of that spiritual piece, that biblical components that help me in
Mm.
thinking about how I should look at things too,
mm,
you know?
mm,
And
mm,
Mhm. Mhm.
and for me, like you said, man, my going to work out and being able to connect in the
mm,
swimming pool, like I get these downloads and these whispers that tell me how I should look at things too. So I think it's like that collective thing, you
Yeah.
know,
yeah.
to help you and how you support yourself. And you know, I'm not knocking on what people do or how you do it, but I'm challenging black men to not use negative support networks, like
Mm,
step away from the drinking piece or step away from the
mm,
smoking
mm,
piece when you're trying to deal with some of these high stressful moments that are causing you a lot of stress and press,
uh,
you know, so that you don't depress, you know, like
Yeah. Yeah.
I just think we need to think about those things differently, you know?
yeah. Man, I appreciate that. And
Sure.
I want to mention one other thing with theirs and what we're talking about as well, because like we were kind of talking about family and having those dynamics and the support systems we have outside. But I love that you still named your partner. And I would be remiss if I don't give Janine that same love. Because I would say, like, even if
Sure.
there's stuff happening in our family, if it's penetrating me in a way that's causing me some stress, I need to be able to have those conversations with her too. Right. And when
For
I think
sure.
about our relationship and what really helps it to grow, it's getting in those weeds together. It's not just me ruminating
That's
on my
right.
own. It's not just me talking to my dude or doing whatever I got to do. It's being
That's
able to
right.
have these conversations with her as well. Because if I can't, there's only so far the relationship's going to be able to go.
That's
And
so
even if it's
good.
that kind of thing that I could be expressing frustrations about her, I need to be able to do that in a way that she can hear it Doesn't mean she's gonna agree with me, right? Like, it doesn't have to be that, but I need to be able to express that, and I need to be able to express to her that I need to be able to express that. So, I love that you
Yeah.
Yeah.
brought that up because it reminded me to kinda go back to that and make sure I give her flowers for that, you know?
Yeah,
Yeah. That's
yeah,
real.
yeah, yeah.
That's real.
Definitely,
That's
definitely,
real.
And
That's
Quest,
definitely.
real.
I got something for you too, because as we're talking about all this, like you're the one on here who has sons.
Yeah.
So as we're talking about this black
Mm.
men being strong black men, how do you
Ooh.
break or how have you tried with your sons to break that pattern of the strong silent type?
Yeah, yeah, I hear you. And I want
Mm.
everyone right now that is listening
Ooh.
to us, if you have sons, I want
Mm,
you to answer that question right now in the comments. How do we
Yeah.
break the strong silent type pattern with our sons? I'm
that's
going to
good.
let you know that you first, for me, it's hard, especially when you have family members that continue in the pattern, right? And you see it
Mm,
like, well, why the hell is this person doing that, right? And you're
Ooh.
looking at it from a different aspect because your thinking is a little bit different. Like, I would want my son to know this. I would want,
mm,
my nephew to know this. I would want, my grandson to know this. I would want them to know these things so that they know how to navigate through that stuff.
mm,
So for me, it was allowing for my sons to be there, with me when it was time to do certain things when I was
mm,
there, you know what I'm saying, with them. And it hasn't been a ton of Christmases, and that's real talk, that
mm,
I've had to kind of like have that moment with them. But even when in the moments that I had with them, it's being able to show them, being
mm,
able to allow them to do these things with me. And
mm,
also giving them some of the work. Why? Because that shows that I don't have to be strong in every scenario, in every situation. I don't always have to be running and doing things. Now, people know me. People know that I like to appreciate people in their love languages. And some
mm,
people's love languages are acts of service. So when we get to a season like this, it probably amplifies a little more. And that's when I
mm,
will go to my sons and be like, hey, we know that this person's love language is this, and this is this season, or this is what it looks like, and whatever like that. Let's strategize how we can all have a good time being able to be supportive in this way.
mm,
And
mm,
sometimes that is
Amen.
a really good thing, to be able just to show them that. But there are examples, and there are examples of where it creeps up and you really don't understand that you're doing it, but you're
mm,
doing it, right? And you want to be able for your sons to be able to identify that and kind of be in a frame in which you see them saying, hey, Dad, come on, you ain't got to do that. I got that. And that's the
Right.
portion when you start thinking of it, be strategic too, because they might not be thinking about it, but you might want to get good cooking this, whatever it is, or you might want to be the person who's the entertainer. Maybe I'm not entertaining anymore. You're entertaining. You coming up with
mm,
the games. You're coming up with
Yeah.
whatever it is that we're doing. We got to give them the opportunity to also look at an opportunity to take a torch from something. So I think it's a
Yeah.
really good to just be able to have a conversation, allow them to understand, this can be something that can be very stressless for all of us, or stress free for all of us, that is. We can all take an opportunity of looking at what these tasks and duties are, and we can also think about how we can be really happy in doing those things.
that's
Man,
good.
you got me thinking about to piggyback off what you said. I feel like, and this is something that maybe I had and didn't really realize it, but I feel like a kid should be a kid, right? We should give
Mm,
our
Mm,
sons while they're young the opportunity to really embrace Christmas, embrace the holidays, things that come
mm,
with it. If they believe Santa
yeah.
coming down the chimney and all that and leaving cookies for them and all that, like that's dope, right? I think that's great. But I think at a certain age and a certain maturation, there needs to be a passing of the baton to start having some real conversations to be like, hey man, this is really what's going down. Maybe it's at 13 or maybe it's at a certain age where you feel comfortable. I feel like some of those real conversations or real what's underneath the holidays can
mm,
start being revealed so
Well,
that
Jay, I'm
it's
going to
not,
ask you a question there because you already touching on it right now. And that
mm,
is,
yeah.
when did the responsibility shift from our fathers and uncles to us? And how do you make that shift? You're talking about it right now, so keep going.
mm,
Man. Whew. Well, of course, I think the first shift happened when my grandfather passed. But that was,
Mm,
and should I say, not even passed. I believe it happened when my grandfather reached an age where his financial resources started to started to deplete themselves, where he couldn't show up in the same way. And then
Huh.
I was able to fill in the gap because I had reached a point where I could actually help in that way. But
Mm.
again,
mm,
that was in my 20s, going into my 20s, things like that. We didn't have conversations, but it was just something that I assumed
got
I
you.
would now do. You know what I'm saying? But I
Yeah.
feel
Yes.
like, I wish some of those conversations maybe would have happened sooner. I also think like there's a passing of the baton with uncles as well, when it's like they start bringing you into the conversation. Okay,
Yes.
so how we
Yes.
gonna break down the family this year? Like, okay, I got $100 I'm gonna
Yeah.
give to this person. I got what you got.
Yeah.
They start bringing you into the conversation so that you can start recognizing like, oh, all these things under the tree didn't just magically happen,
Mm.
right?
Correct.
Mm.
And
Correct.
so, I think it's like
Yeah.
getting through college, maybe getting to that point where now you're starting to actually provide in certain ways for yourself. You start having those conversations
Hmm.
to be like,
Hmm.
okay, how we doing Christmas
How we doing?
this
Yeah. Yep.
year?
Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
You know?
Yep. And that's a good that is a good way to look at that too, because I think a lot of times we are not looking at the opportunity to just bring the son in, bring the
Mm.
nephew in, bring the grandson and
Yeah.
bring the uncle to a point where they're understanding it's okay to step away a little bit from this. You've been doing this so long. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Let's
Yeah.
if we're trying to leave legacy or tradition, whatever it is that you're trying to do right now, let's bring them on back into this. So
That's
yeah,
so
yeah,
good.
yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah,
good.
yeah.
That's
That's
good
You
stuff.
good. That's
know,
good.
there has been a lot of things that we've said today that we want you all to be able to take away from what we've said. So I want to give a little bit of things that I know practically you can do. Take this one. Assign a role early so that your family members understand that the load isn't going to be just on one person
Mm,
and that
that's
you all
good.
can share this in a way in which can be fun and it can carry on the
Mm.
spirit of the holiday season.
That's
Another
good.
one here is, do an emotional check in with someone that you trust. Maybe it's a family member or a sibling, or Jay, to your point, somebody that you just, kind of really confide in. But make sure that you tap in with that person early and make sure that they understand that they are the person that you're checking in with. And
Mm.
then
Mm,
lastly, I'm saying to you all, create a stress-free tradition, something that you do
that's
that
good.
pulls yourself, out of that moment of stress, out of that moment of holiday, and gets you into an opportunity to sit there and have a moment with yourself to bring everything into perspective so that you'll be able to get through these holidays in that day with a lot more peace than you had before.
Those are
Wow.
good.
Wow. I
Those are
love
good.
all that.
Yeah.
Those are
That's
good. Those are
amazing.
good.
Yeah.
Dropping
Yeah.
nuggets.
Yeah.
That was good stuff.
Yeah,
Hey,
man. That's
hey,
good.
man, this has been so much fun. I think all of
Yeah.
us really love this holiday season. And I think
Yeah.
when we think about like all of what's going on, this is a really, really great
Yeah.
topic for the 4050 Social Club around the
Yeah.
holiday season. So
Yeah.
we thank all of you for being
Yeah.
here
Thank
with
you.
us. We want you to right now go down to the comment section and comment what are some of your things that you like to do around the holiday season. Let's
Mm.
see
I
if
like that.
you can be here again with us on the 4050 Social Club when we come back for another holiday time period and another podcast to give you so much great information from us. On behalf of CJ, my man Jamian, you know who I am. It's the holiday season right here on the 4050 Social Club. And we'll see you soon.
Peace.
And that's a wrap on another successful and penetrating episode of the 4050 Social Club. We're obviously so glad you joined, and we hope that you found something healthy, affirming, and powerful in today's content. Please help support this movement by liking this video and following us on Instagram and YouTube at 4050.socialclub. We'll see you again next week, same time, same channel, as you work with us in this growing and important community to make these the best years of your best life. Till then.